Okay. Good morning, everybody. We're going to give it just a minute or so to let everybody join us. My name is Gary Tomerlin. I am the moderator today, and just about another minute or two, we will let our panel introduce themselves, and then we'll go through today's topic, which is about how do you become a SACA Academy. We still have a few people popping in. Let's give it just one more minute, please. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully, we'll have everybody else will come in by and join us. But we have 4 people joining us today. We have a last minute addition that occurred just literally like 45 minutes ago, but we'll get to that in a second. But my name is Gary Tomerlin. My job is government relations and strategic initiatives for tech labs. And we are a company that provides educational solutions across 8 states. You can kind of see them in the background, Texas, and then up and over to Utah is probably the best way to describe it. But with that said, I'm going to go to Sue and let Sue Smith introduce herself and tell us a bit about her background. Sue?
Yes, well, hello everyone, and it's great to be here today and to talk about the SACA Academy. I'm Sue Smith. I am the executive program director at SACA, and I'm really happy to be with that organization. Have been familiar with SACA in my role, previous role, which I was the vice president of engineering and applied science, manufacturing engineering and applied science at Ivy Tech Community College. And so I did that for over 30 years, and then I'm excited to be able to come to SACA and work with the programs and with the companies and with the schools.
Thank you, Sue. To our attendees, I don't think I mentioned when I introduced myself and was getting us started. If you have questions, if you'll put them in the chat, we have the team is monitoring that, and we will try to get get your questions answered while we're online today. So thank you, Sue. And so now we're going to, Jerry, if you will introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your company and your background, please.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me, Gary. I've been with Anderson Hauser for 28 years, and since 2012, I actually have been in a role as talent development program manager and worked with my colleagues here to introduce training programs for opportunities in the market. And we've actually invested millions of dollars, and you might ask why, but we realized we had to tackle growth expectations in our business and be really in control of our own destiny, training our people and our salespeople, field service technicians in the network. So that actually extended down into training programs for customers and people in the market buying our products and using instrumentation. So we were helping them with some of the same issues they had. And then for the last 2 years, I've been part of a workforce development team, really to extend our expertise down to the university level and developing young talent much earlier to prepare those future workers for roles in our industry, as well as working through advisory boards to work with schools like Ivy Tech and Sue to realize the need in the industry for the right skills. So we've worked with them to come up with solutions and still are today. So everyone wants the industry really wants graduates that come out ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, that's a very, very definite need in today's world, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Cody, if you will introduce yourself and tell us about your background and tell us about your program, if you will, please.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning, everybody. I'm Cody Irwin out at Meridian Tech here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We're a career tech supported technical center. We have over 75 full-time programs that are in medical, business, STEM, skilled trades. We have roughly about 1,000 students currently. My little bubble focuses on industrial technology, so we do electrical, mechanical, fluid, PLCs, and process controls. And my goal is to build a entry-level technician that is comfortable walking into an industrial setting and recognizing some of the machinery that you're working with, and either install it, fix it, troubleshoot, just about anything that you need from your technicians. Where that's our goal. Send them out to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for joining us this morning. And then our fourth panelist, who made the mistake of emailing me about 45 minutes ago or so. And so I'm like, okay, well, hey, Michael, since you're emailing me, why don't you just jump in here as a panelist? And so Michael Cook, if you'll tell us about your background and what you do at Rockwell.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for including me. So Michael Cook, I'm based out of our headquarters in Milwaukee. I lead for Rockwell Automation, and I head up our industry academia engagement team. And essentially, we're part of a global engineering function that focuses on really building the future workforce in collaboration with academic institutions, essentially from K to grade. So we've taken a lot of our internal lessons for our internal engineering training type programs, our Veterans Academy, and other things. And we've taken those lessons, and as we enter into these new skill sets, and certainly areas where there's a lot more integration of technologies and engineering and business and computer science disciplines, we put a lot of focus on that internally, but also externally, to really align with industry needs and try and be relevant in terms of the skill sets that we're collaborating with academic institutions. So, working with companies like Hauser and Fanuc and Microsoft and others, we have kind of a common collaborative mindset on how we can work to really develop the workforce of today that we need, certainly at that level one, but also at that very advanced level where we need to succeed in being very competitive as a nation in terms of manufacturing at that highest level. So we spend a lot of time working in those emerging areas as well. Partnering is a core strength of Rockwell Automation, and we really work with an ecosystem to do this well. And we realize that it's a national imperative. These skills are truly a national imperative for us to build up our industrial skills base. So it's very important for our company, for our end users, and for our ecosystem.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thanks for joining us at the last minute. And obviously, you're involved in this conversation at a national level, and so we appreciate you jumping in this Friday morning. And so to our attendees, and in my notes when I had put this together and I was going to first describe our panel, I had written that each of our panelists represented the points of the corners of a triangle, if you will. And so I guess I need to change that to a square because now we have four corners. But obviously Sue has experience at Ivy Tech, which is a statewide collection of community technical colleges. Cody is our boots on the ground person, and he's interacting with students today. And he himself has completed many SACA certifications. We'll let him talk more about that later on in this. And then, of course, as Jerry and Michael have explained, they are involved with major global employers that are working nationally to solve the workforce shortage, the reshoring, all these initiatives we hear so much about in our workforce today. But with that, we're going to get started, and we're going to go to Sue. And my question to you, Sue, is when you were at Ivy Tech, why did you choose SACA? What problem were you addressing? And just speak to us about that space, if you will, please.
Sure. So about 2019, 2018 timeframe, we were reading the tea leaves, if you will. I mean, we knew that our programs in manufacturing weren't what they needed to be to support the industries that were coming into Indiana, the electric vehicles, the battery, the semiconductors. Those were all very, very automated. Even our biopharmaceutical manufacturers were becoming more and more automated. And so we knew we needed to upgrade our programs, but we just didn't know how. So we were looking at 85,000 jobs open in the state of Indiana in manufacturing. And so how are we going to address that? What are we going to do? I mean, we just kind of, we were just kind of looking for that solution. So I'd worked with Jim Wall, who's the executive director of SACA, and in other capacities, and came across his name and his work with SACA. So I reached out to Jim and said, "Hey, let's talk about this," looked at the SACA credentials and looked at all of the standards and the knowledge and performance indicators that go with those standards, and it just seemed to be what we needed. And so still wasn't sure. So I said, "Jim, would you like to come to Indiana and talk to some of our employer partners about the credentials, and let's see if that's what they're needing?" And so he did. And one of the first stops was Hauser. And so Hauser, some of the folks that worked there with Jerry had said, "Yes, this is exactly what we need." So we started down the road of adopting all those credentials into our manufacturing programs, and having mapped all of those into current manufacturing programs, we noticed that we had a gap, and that gap was a systems integration program that would be built on those SACA credentials as well. So we built that, and that became the Smart Manufacturing and Digital Integration degree, first in the nation. So it was very groundbreaking for Indiana. But we had to really upgrade the labs with these credentials. We had to upgrade our curriculum. We had to upgrade our faculty, and then we had to upgrade our dual credit folks too, and that pathway that goes into manufacturing. Because in Indiana, that is the most manufacturing intensive state in the U.S. And we couldn't lose our manufacturing base. We just couldn't. So that was the solution. That was the problem we were trying to solve, is to create this SACA Academy, if you will, to address those needs.
Thank you, Sue. And I used to know this off the top of my head, and I think I still do. Didn't Ivy Tech have 28 locations around the state? Am I making that number up? How many locations, and how many locations did you deploy the degree to?
Yeah, Ivy Tech is the largest singly accredited community college in the U.S. There are 19 campuses, full-serving campuses, and 41 sites across the state. There were 22, now there are 23 advanced manufacturing labs that blanket the state.
Wow, that's a big number. So my 28 number was somewhere between 19 and 41.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Jerry, since Sue mentioned you, I think if you would please tell us a little bit more about Hauser, what you do, because both of our panelists today, Hauser and Michael with Rockwell, you really don't make products for consumers. It's
Right.
You make the stuff that is used by industry that makes the stuff that we buy.
Exactly.
And so if you kind of speak about that a bit whenever I get my question out to you, but then tell us about how big this gap is. What's going on with reshoring? Sue mentioned 85,000 jobs. How does this all come together for us? And I'll go to you first, Jerry.
Yeah, first a little background on the company, what we do. Like you said, we don't sell to the consumer, but our customers are like the refineries, oil and gas, food and beverage, pharmaceutical, and even the water and wastewater industries that serve all the municipalities around the country. So the thing that kind of got us into this, we heard loud and clear about 10 to 15 years ago that the shortage of skilled workers was coming. We knew the baby boomers were going to be retiring. And then recently all the supply chain disruptions and geopolitical issues. And so there's been a lot of investment in U.S. manufacturing here in the area over the last several years. So from that fact, we knew that they were going to be implementing in those new factories the Industry 4.0 technology. So not only were people leaving, but even the people staying were going to need to be reskilled. So really, a lot of the local colleges, they did not offer instrumentation and process control programs. So we had to be self-sufficient to, serve our own needs. And we even developed curriculum. We had these training facilities we built, we had the curriculum, and we were using it and improving it over really about a decade of time. But then a few years back, SACA came to us and said, we have this vision of having this industry-wide certification program. and to help attack that problem that everyone was seeing. So they asked for our involvement, and it made a lot of sense to us. So now we've been working together for several years.
Thank you, Jerry. Michael, same to you. Kind of tell us what Rockwell Automation is. What do y'all do? Who is your consumer? And then speak a bit about reshoring and so as the national movement, if you will.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. So similar to Emerson Hauser and some of our other partners, we're seeing this nearshoring and onshoring. To contextualize it for you, with the CHIPS Act, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and the IRA, there's roughly about $430 billion being invested in infrastructure in these critical industries, so semiconductor, EV, life sciences, etc. So that is all in motion now, and at the same time, our companies are looking at, we talk about digital transformation, and we're really looking at kind of the next wave of technology, integrated technology and systems that are going to unlock the value that we see in advanced manufacturing. And so at the same time that we are transforming as industry with end users addressing, we work as Rockwell in almost every industry that you could imagine. We have about 21 manufacturing sites across the globe. 6 are here in the US. So we manufacture as well. We understand manufacturing operations, but we also understand acutely the skill sets that are necessary to reduce the risk to adopt those technologies and then to get the benefit of the investment out of that. And that for us is kind of has been a gap that we've needed to, for many years, step up now and address as industry, working with academic institutions that are working much, much slower than industry. In many cases, their curriculum is not up to date. And we need to step in and kind of talk about industry best practice and then kind of take them through a collaborative journey of transformation as well, so they can get on this path to working much more quickly and a more agile and relevant fashion between industry and academia. So we see that gap, and then underlying that are some of the things that Jerry mentioned. We have an aging population, we've got lower birth rates, rising tuition costs, declining high school graduates, access and affordability is an issue. We've got cybersecurity, we've got resiliency pressures, etc. So that context is a very ripe opportunity for us as industry to really step up and play a more responsible role in helping to define that workforce of the future that's really going to help us differentiate and succeed. And that's why I think SACA plays such an incredible role, because we're able to work as industry collectively and provide our insights through a structured process that can then provide a different, or what I would say, a complementary form of accreditation to some of the slower, but also well-recognized formats like ABIT accreditation, which is important. But at the same time, we also recognize that we need to move a lot more quickly if we want to remain competitive. So there are a lot of pressures that kind of come to bear, and that really allowed us to think carefully about this and then partner with SACA as well with a lot of our end users that are using our products and solutions to really contribute to what I think is becoming a national dialogue on skills and standards. And the real gap was the emergence of technical standards around interoperability and cybersecurity, etc. We're seeing development there on the technical side, but on the workforce side, it's equally as critical that we balance that with the right kind of human-centric approach to developing skills in the right way as industry. So not just as Rockwell alone, but as kind of a community of end users that are going to contribute to that and create the richness and the value of those certifications. So that's really got us on this path.
Thank you, Michael. So Cody, I kind of talked about your certifications as part of your introduction. So you're our boots on the ground guy with SACA, And as part of, before we went on live today, you mentioned that you had your industry advisory meeting yesterday. If you would just kind of share, you know, kind of why was SACA a solution for you in the industry that you work with in Stillwater, Oklahoma?
Yeah, for sure. So in 2020, we started this program and tried to figure out some ways to justify how our students were receiving their education, how they could prove it when they left our place, and when it came to employers, could put that on their resume. One, be a little more competitive in the market, and then two, let them know this is what I've done and this is the justification. So for me, choosing SACA was a no-brainer. The framework was great. We have our standards lined out. So when I talk to my advisors, I can give them those standards and say, this is what it covers. And I want you guys to be aware that when a student comes in, or when you have an applicant that comes in with some SACA certifications, recognize them and dig a little deeper, because these are legit. They're hard to get with the silver and the gold level. The two different levels of the silver technical test it's a extensive, very by the book test. So if they're able to pass that, they know their stuff. And then that gold added on top of it, they've proved that not only can they talk about it, but they can walk the walk as well.
Okay, thank you, Cody. So, Sue, we talked about your past at Ivy Tech and how you became involved with SACA, and now you are a representative of SACA. You work at SACA. So we've talked about a lot of different things. Cody just mentioned silver and gold. We've kind of talked about certifications. Jerry and Michael have talked about the various processes, the validations, and that kind of stuff. And so if you would, take a bit of time and explain to us about how SACA came to be, how the various certifications were developed, maybe walk us through some of the certifications and that kind of stuff. And then kind of like, what does it take to become an academy?
Sure. So if I could share my screen, maybe I could kind of walk through the website, because the website is really the key to understanding the credentials and understanding what is possible. But what really starting when you want to become a SACA member, there is a membership. And I don't see it on my screen. Maybe I can't share.
Well, I think you should be able to.
Okay, well, I don't see it coming up here.
Let me see if I can. Here, how about if I share, Sue? Can you see that, Sue?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. How about if I
Sorry.
share my screen
That'd be great.
And we can, you tell me where to go.
Okay,
And,
so first let's look at the certifications. One of the reasons that I transitioned to SACA was so that I could support industry and education across the country in what we had done at Ivy Tech. So if you look at the certifications, there's an associate level group of certifications, and those are very entry level. They are basic operations, advanced operations, robotics, and industrial Internet of Things. And then if you go down to the specialist certifications, so if you can hit that one, those are things that you page on down, you can see that those are different areas, different occupations where the SACA credentials have been identified for each one of those certifications or occupations. And then if you go back and go to the micro credentials, I think this is really where it has been so beneficial in skilling up the workforce and also in supporting, supporting our different occupations. So if you look at these, and if you click on these, each one of them has a description that you can tell what is there. They include troubleshooting. So I know that Cody had mentioned that, and of course that's one thing that is critical in all occupations. But you can see how you could actually tie these together and either upgrade a current employee or prepare a student for a specific position. So if you go back to the membership, I think the how, you can see the why, because these are 40 hours, these micro credentials are in 40-hour blocks. So that fits nicely into an academic curriculum.
Sue,
But it
let me
also,
let me
sorry.
interrupt just a second, please.
Sure.
Yeah, we're at SACA.org is the website. I probably should have said that, and maybe you can see it at the top of the bar up. But if anybody wants to go to the website after the meeting, it's just SACA.org. But anyway, I'm sorry, Sue, go ahead.
No, go ahead. So if you go down to the education membership and click on that, you can see the benefits. If you page down, you can see the benefits of becoming an educational member. What I want to point out here too is that for education and for industry and for all of the organizations, SACA charges a membership fee. And once you pay that membership fee, you have unlimited access to the testing, the both silver and gold level tests. So you pay that one fee, you don't pay a per test fee. SACA is a nonprofit organization. It's an educational foundation. So if you go on down a little bit, Gary, I think there's a place to look at to click on the membership form. Let's see, maybe it's up at the top. It's maybe up at the top here, closer to the top of the benefits. Let's see.
Membership
Yeah, there
form.
it goes. Yeah, click on the membership form. You can do the same thing for education, and you'll see the membership order form and the costs that are there. Very, very small costs for educational membership and even for industry membership and comparatively. So we were able to pay this one fee, and we get all of our campuses when I was at Ivy Tech are covered with unlimited access.
And so maybe you're going to say this, Sue, but a single high school in a district, the annual membership is $500.
Right. And then the whole district is $1,000. So it's very, very affordable. The membership fees.
I'm gonna click back over and point out again that there's no cost to the students. The certifications are free.
Right. The certifications are unlimited, and there's no cost to the student ever for a SACA credential. So that's the how. SACA does offer a tremendous amount of training for administrators. So if your organization or your college or high school has an administrator, that administrator gets free training on how to use the system. But it is a really good system, and there's also training for instructors. So we are getting more and more of those across the country, more and more sites that are able to train and certify instructors. Anderson Hauser might eventually become one of those sites as well. So if you go back to the main page and main website, and if you go, yes, and go down the website near the bottom, you'll see where the new certifications and process control are released. And there's also this degree. So this degree is a 4-year degree that the University of Wisconsin Stout has developed based on the SACA credentials at Ivy Tech. And I just saw a press release yesterday that Gateway Technical College in Wisconsin also has an articulation agreement with them, with University of Wisconsin Stout. So if you're going down, I just want to show briefly the certifications and process control. Okay, there we go. instrumentation, process and control. Yeah, if you want to read more about that, it's there, and it's a list of those that fit up under that process control. And thanks to Anderson Hauser for all their help and support in building that, and of course for Rockwell, as always, for their help and support. So yeah, so that's it. You can go, you can look at all, there's a lot of different things on there, that are relevant. So yeah, so that's how we built it when I was at Ivy Tech. That's how we're building it now at other colleges and organizations across the country and high schools.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. You can see some of the companies here. Sue, Jim Wall has spoke about this before, and these are all companies that have participated. How many industry partners, do you have a number or an about number that you can share?
I do not, but if you put that in the question, we can certainly find out and answer that.
And I've seen a list, and I want to say hundreds, but we'll be careful of that. And we'll try to get a more definitive answer. And
Sure.
let me see what this page. Nah, we don't want to go to that page. But so that's kind of everything. SACA, to reiterate what Sue said. The cost for a high school, as an example, is a single high school is $500. A community college is $2,500. Rockwell Automation is a platinum sponsor of SACA as an industry partner, and other companies are partners as well, obviously. And so the value to students is they get the skills, the knowledge, and then the certification demonstrates that they have mastery of the specific skills. And Cody said this: silver is the knowledge certification, and gold is the hands-on certification. You have to demonstrate you can do it. So Jerry, and I don't want to stop sharing my screen now, y'all, in just a second, but I'll ask my question, and then I'll stop sharing after that, because I can't do two things at once. But to Jerry and then Michael, so when students come to you with certifications, do you pay more? Do you give them a higher level of consideration? How do you determine who's the best potential employee? And Jerry, we'll go to you first, please.
Well, I'll start off. One of the things we've been doing, we've been sending apprentices we have in our advanced manufacturing program to Ivy Tech. And it's the program that Sue helped create. And we've graduated a number of those employees with degrees, and then they move on to various roles in the organization. And those higher roles definitely pay more. I mean, I don't want to get into salary ranges, but there are advancement opportunities, and then those degrees definitely help them advance in their careers. But really now, with the 12 new instrumentation credentials that Sue was talking about that are from SACA, those can be offered at any community college, including Ivy Tech, of course. And we have partners now who can help train the next generation of talent. So we're even collaborating here with local process industries, other employers who need these skills, along with Ivy Tech, to help address this shortage really we have in the talent. So we see a path forward, really, like Sue said, with our own instructors here at Anderson Hauser getting SACA certified, so that we can be at locations where some of those certifications can be obtained. And really just kind of a little success story. We had an interim solution, for example, where we worked with an international client who has plants worldwide and developed a custom training program at their sites. And then they actually administer that internally. So we actually built the process training skids. We provided the curriculum and trained their trainers. And so now they can develop their own people internally. And with these new certifications, they can start stacking these credentials.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Michael, if you would please share your comments.
As an industry end user that's participated in a lot of the technical work groups for the SACA standards, we know what's gone into them, and we're able to kind of crosswalk that against our own internal competency training programs. So we're very aware that they are very, very good standard, and they're a good reference point for us to look at a candidate and provide a definite. I think that the short answer is they stand out because we know what's gone into them, and that really does differentiate a candidate. It's also important for our end users to understand as well. And very often they will look at those skill sets and they'll go, yeah, that's exactly what we needed. And the reason for that is simple. It's because the technical work groups provided the right kind of skill set and technical insights that were necessary to establish those standards. So they align with industry and meet their expectations very, very well. So we're seeing that the other, and obviously that gives us a preference. The other thing that's going on in our industry is more recognition that you don't get a 2 or 4 year degree and you're done studying. It's really a continuous learning process, and they're pathways. And so these credentials actually provide, clear reference that a candidate has those capabilities, and it's been validated. So there's preference there, and I think we're starting to see a significant increase in apprenticeship programs where these credentials fit very well, and 2 degrees. And then you spoke about the 4 year Bachelor of Science Automation leadership degree at University of Stout, which is a very well recognized polytechnic here in Wisconsin and in the region. And so, it really is a continuous learning journey. And a lot of our end users are looking at, 2 year candidates or 4 year candidates now that have both a degree, but they've also got that proven balance with industry experience with the conceptual learning that makes them a true standout. So it definitely is more attractive. If I'm evaluating a candidate, it gives us common ground because we know immediately what their level of experience is based on their credentials in the pathway. I think it's just a really good added benefit that differentiates that candidate. The other thing I just want to go back and say 2 things to reinforce. I think what SACA has done an incredible job is being accessible. So it's lowered the barrier to entry to participate in these credentials. And that was something that was, I'll come back to use this word, it's a national imperative that we lower the barrier. We make our industry as attractive and as well understood as possible with the potential to really grow a good career. And then I think the second thing that to point out and just reinforce is the alignment between industry and the skill sets we know we need and we are building today, and what's coming out of academic institutions that are using SACA is very, very accurate. So it's very helpful for us what SACA is actually doing, and I think as this expands more, we'll definitely get more preference to that candidate.
Thank you, Michael. So Cody, kind of same story, same question to you, if you will. Obviously, you yourself are a believer in SACA because you have numerous certifications, as you have discussed. But maybe can you share some student success stories? I mean, I'm not necessarily asking you to tell us student names or anything that's confidential that shouldn't be shared. But maybe if you can talk about some of your students, what employers they're going to, or what industries, if you can't name the employers. Maybe that would be informational.
Yes, for sure. So one that comes to mind, I actually bragged on him yesterday. He came through as a full-time adult. He was able to get through my 1-year course in 6 months. It's just how accelerated he was going full-time. And now he's completed his first year. He moved to Illinois. So that was his goal, get out of the state. He wanted to leave. So he found him a job in Illinois working for the U.S. Postal, making $35 an hour. And this is his first industry job. So that alone, that's a great salary that many people work 5-6 years to get to that level. And he can just walk in the door, partly because of these SACA certifications and the recognition that they have across the nation, just because of these people on the board today. Another one that's more local for us would be in the energy production. So our local OG&E, Oklahoma Gas and Energy, we've got a couple of people that have went out to their power plant and been able to walk in and start getting mentorship alongside some extra training that they do internally. So again, all those SACA certifications just help them differentiate themselves inside of the giant pool of people who want to walk in and say they know what they're doing, but it's really hard as an employer for you to verify that. And this just takes some of that stress off of you. If you see that SACA certification, you're aware of what it is. We've already done the work for you. We've vetted that student out.
Okay, thank you. And Cody, me being down here in Texas, in your comment that you just made about the first student wanting to get out of Oklahoma, it's all I can do is to not jab the Texas OU rivalry thing, but I'm trying to let it go. Okay.
Let's keep it cordial.
Exactly. I mean, that's hard for me. But anyway, so y'all by now I think we have kind of explained the why SACA is important, what a SACA Academy is. One thing that I don't think we shared is the email to SACA. It's Sue. It's support@saca.org, right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
so support@saca.com and
.org.
.org. Thank you. I said it right the first time and then I said it wrong the second time, but that is an email where you can send your questions, and there's people there that can answer the questions as you're interested, if you're interested in knowing something else that we haven't addressed. But now we want to kind of transition a bit here and kind of talk about what's next, kind of what else is happening. And Sue, I noticed online the semiconductor certification is up, or I saw a link for certification. I didn't know that was there, but what is SACA working on, and what are the next steps? What's the evolution? Can you speak to that a bit, please?
Sure. So thanks to the work everybody's done, including the folks on this panel, we are sort of very busy. We're a bit overwhelmed with requests right now, but we do have the semiconductor at the operator level is ready. But now we need the technician level. And so in November, we will be in the state of Florida working with the Florida Semiconductor Institute and all of the subject matter experts that are members of that. And we will be working toward the technician level credentials for those certifications. So it won't be just one, of course. It's a multitude of certifications that go along with equipment specialists and technicians, but we'll be doing that. So that's in the works. We're also working with MXD to look at metaverse credentials that we need for those roles and those positions. So that's also in the work and that's just for next month. So I'm sure we'll be doing more after that. But and we're always expanding and the reason that one of the reasons that out of education I went with SACA is because of all of that expansion. It's because I can go one place and get the credentials that I need that are always updated. So the working groups, technical working groups that Michael mentioned, they're meeting all the time to upgrade things as needed as well. So it's not just developing new credentials, it's also looking at the current credentials and seeing what needs to be done there. So
Thank you, Sue. And you talked about this, but I maybe reiterated just a little bit of SACA is kind of getting to be a bigger and bigger encompassing umbrella, if you will, as it tries to identify, I don't want to use the word all, but it becomes more inclusive, embracing more technologies and more disciplines, if you will. But then it's also it's right-sized if you will, because micro credentials and badges. Cody spoke to his student that was able to sequence through the various certifications and the skills in 6 months, and so it's not always tied to a 4-year degree program as Michael has talked about, and the Wisconsin Stout program. But if a student wants to do that, there's a pathway to do that. And so there's many pathways, many opportunities, and it's more of trying to find the right opportunity for that student at that time. And as in the one example Cody gave us, it was successful for a student after 6 months. Uh, and so I think that's kind of an important piece of SACA in kind of many other certifications or other certifications that I've been involved with in the past were more blocked, more rigid, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe them. But so to our attendees, we have about 10 minutes left scheduled for this. If there's any questions, if you'd like to put those in the chat, we'd be glad to try to address those. But then Michael and Jerry, to the extent you can, I'm not asking you to give away the secret recipe for how you make a PLC or anything like that, but where's the world going? What's next? How do we address reshoring, retiring, the graying of America, all those kind of things? But then, how do we move forward? What does 5 years or 10 years out look like?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, one of the biggest things, we've got to collaborate. We've got to work together. We can't do these things on our own. I mentioned earlier how we invested a lot in putting together training programs for the market, for our customers in the industry. But, that's just one company. So now having Rockwell involved, having SACA, and I'll even mention that, we worked with a partner here in Indiana that builds training equipment so they can literally deliver what's needed to the colleges where they can now do the hands-on certifications, do the gold level set of certification. So, you have the online part to get the silver, which is very accessible, like Michael was referring to. It's very easy to get that, but you still have to go and get the hands-on training. And to do that, you need the equipment. So we've already standardized, basically a package for that. And this company, Amatrol, is actually able to provide those now. They're building those for us, and those can be shipped out across the country.
Thank you, Jerry. Michael?
So Jerry said it really nicely. I think as an industry, we're doing two things. We're trying to be more accessible. Accessible in terms of our technology and our methodologies and how we're implementing them, and to be able to be a lot more inclusive as well, so that we can actually engage people in understanding there are actually incredible careers in advanced manufacturing, and we're just getting started. If you look at all the investment that's been made. The other thing that we're doing, and we also do this collaboratively, including working very closely with Anderson Hauser and Fanuc and Microsoft, is we do a lot of thought leadership. So many cases we're partnering with very significant universities, and I'll just call out two. One in Indiana, which is Purdue, which has got its smart ecosystem manufacturing program, which articulates with what Sue was talking about, the digital manufacturing degree they have at Ivy Tech. So though we're starting to see alignment and good collaboration and articulation there, and that's very, very important for us, that we can drive that thought leadership as industry. At the same time, we're also implementing our most advanced technologies and methodologies at locations like the Purdue Smart Manufacturing Ecosystem. We built a Foundry of the Future, working closely with industry partners and Anderson Hauser and others, which kind of sets the tone for building that future workforce in those areas and kind of validating what those skills are so we can simplify those and make those accessible to industry. And then more close to home, and Wisconsin, of course, is the other big manufacturing footprint in the US. We've partnered with significant partners to build the Connected System Institute. And that was really founded between Rockwell and Microsoft. And after a number of years of getting started now, we're starting to fold in new technologies like AI. So everyone's talking about AI, but Microsoft has actually invested pretty significantly in a co-innovation lab, the first time to have one focused on manufacturing and in a university. And so these initiatives allow us with our industry partners to really do forward-looking things and look to the future of advanced manufacturing, and then to bring it back down to earth in a way that's pragmatic, and we can make that accessible to a high school, a community college, four-year degree, or even an institute. And if we're able to do that, then we're able to build this workforce. And if we're able to do that quickly and have the right skill sets and standards, such as those being established through SACA, then we're able to really be impactful and see the benefit of the investment and the economic outcomes. So we're tying all those things together. And that really is the future, is moving more collaboratively, moving more quickly, being extremely pragmatic in the way in which we put these technologies and practices into academic institutions. But the underlying success factor is really the collaboration with a very strong and like-minded ecosystem. So that's really the differentiator. But that's the future: AI, machine learning, data, systems knowledge, system integration. Clear programs, clear standards, and then clear alignment with industry needs like semiconductor, etc. That's really where we're moving towards. And I'm super excited and passionate about what's still to come. We've covered some incredible ground. There's a lot more to come, and it's just starting to get really, really exciting. So
Yeah, I'll add
that's
to
the
that.
future.
I'll add too, since you asked Gary about 5-10 years down the road. I mean, this work that Michael talks about that we've completed, it's not completed. I mean, the technology keeps changing, and the curriculum and the equipment and all this we mentioned, the standards there for today. But as this changes and we roll out new products, it's going to have to keep up. So it's really critical that we have this collaboration, we work together, because otherwise it's just not going to work.
Thank you, Jerry and Michael. And as y'all have talked about the collaboration, and Michael, you mentioned Microsoft. I think it's, for me, it's almost like a paradigm change, because generally companies are more of competitors, I guess. I mean, I think y'all are kind of in separate spaces, but then you realize your equipment is going onto the same systems, and so there has to be a level of compatibility. And I guess that our systems are becoming more and more complex. The software has got to integrate with multiple hardware vendors and the like, so that it functions as a system. So that's kind of a interesting thought, if you will. We have a couple of questions. Sue, I think this one says our company has an in-house training program. They have amateur equipment. They're doing certifications for their employees, and they're saying, is it possible to become a training site? So Sue, if you want to speak to that.
Yes, it is possible to become a training site. We would welcome more training sites across the country, closer to our schools and closer to other organizations that need to get certified trainers in their programs. So yes, it is possible to do that. So
And just have them maybe use the support at saca.org. Is that the best way to
right,
reach?
yeah, absolutely. Just or email Jim Wall at or me. One of us can also do that. Help them do that and work through that.
Okay, thank you. And then another one that I think is for you, Sue, and it's any idea why the Stout program doesn't include the C104 in their curriculum?
I don't know why they don't include C104. We had C104 at Ivy Tech in our curriculum that would transfer into University of Wisconsin Stout, but I'm not sure why specifically they didn't include it. But that's a question we can certainly get answered.
And my speculation was almost exactly what you said, Sue, is because I think they look at each student from a transfer point of view, and then try to figure out what's their deficit, and there's some core courses that have to be completed. But I think other than that, it's just kind of what unique for each student.
I know
Uh,
from my perspective, I'm actually enrolled in that degree program, and I didn't exactly fit their requirements for the things that they listed on the certifications, but I still had plenty to prove that I've been through the vetted process. So they were very flexible with me, and it's a easy course to follow for sure, especially being completely online. I live in Oklahoma, nowhere near Wisconsin, so that opportunity was still available for me even out of state.
Thank you, Cody. Okay, y'all, as we get near the top of the hour, anything you haven't had an opportunity to share with our audience? Sue?
Yeah, I would encourage the industries on the call to become members of SACA and to become part of our technical working groups. And educators, I would encourage all of you to get with your company partners, be more aligned with your employers and have those standards that you can point to in your programs that, as Cody said, that sort of guarantee that competencies that are in the standards. So that would be my advice.
Uh, okay, so here's a question. What is the criteria to become a training site? We're already an education member. And so I'm just going to suggest that they email the support at SACA.org, and somebody at SACA will get an answer back to that person, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Jerry, any closing comment from you, please?
Yes, I'll just say, we're all working together. It's great that we have all these partnerships now. It's moving in the right direction. What we'll do is obviously monitor and see if there's demand for this, uh, check the interest levels, that type of thing, and just continue to do what we're doing and let us know what kind of things you need. We can develop those if we don't know about them or are working on them already. So it's about communication, just keeping in touch and letting us know what you need. We'll be here to support it.
Thank you, Jerry. Michael?
I would just echo what Jerry said and just, I think we're a very strong ecosystem that's moving in the right direction. And we're going to continue to need to do more and be both agile, but also very mature and serious in our approach to skills going forward. So just encourage people to stay engaged. And as long as we can keep a very good nexus between industry and academia around specific industries, I think we'll be in very good shape for the future. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Michael. So there's a question about sharing slides. We didn't have any slides. That was the SACA website, real time. I just shared my screen. And so, SACA.org, and you can see the information that was there. But then this meeting is being recorded, and our IT people will share it with the registered attendees. And so all the information should be available. And if not, just again, support at SACA.org. I'll have that email address memorized by the time this thing is over. But anyway, and if there's anything we didn't get to you, we'll certainly try to get you the information you need. Cody, your closing thought, please.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're in this meeting already, you're taking one step forward to support our industries, and I just hope that you continue to advocate it. No matter if you're an industry leader, if you're educators, I know we have a mixed crowd, so just keep tooting our horn, keep putting out the awareness that we are trying to develop all of it and continue to support it. That's the biggest thing.
Thank you, Cody. And so to our panelists that took time out of your Friday morning to participate and learn more about SACA, we thank you for your time and attendance. To our panelists, we thank you, Michael. A special thank you for letting me crash your Friday morning from whatever it was you had planned. But we sincerely do appreciate you joining at the last minute and obviously talking about how your respective companies, Jerry, you and Michael, are interacting. I think that was a very important addition to the conversation this morning. And so again, to our 4 panelists, thank you very much, and we appreciate it. And with that, we will close. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.